Good evening and welcome to this webinar with Natural World Safaris. My name is Ruth Peacey and I'm the Polar Charter Coordinator for the company. We've got a really exciting trip in May 2027, the Svalbard Arctic Expedition on board Polar Front. It's an intimate experience with 12 passengers exploring the best of the Arctic scenery and wildlife. But what really sets this trip apart is who you'll be travelling with and the access you'll have. So this evening, I'm delighted to introduce to you our two specialist leaders for this trip, Nicole Stott and Christina Korp. And I'm sure they've heard this a million times, but I'm feeling a little bit starstruck. Yes, Nicole is an accomplished NASA astronaut who spent more than 100 days living and working in space, including time in the International Space Station and undertaking a spacewalk. Wow. Christina started out as a singer-songwriter before becoming an astronaut manager. Now, just try telling that to your careers advisor. She's a space advisor and founder of Space for a Better World, an organization which educates and raises awareness about the ways space technology can benefit life on Earth. Now, both of our guests this evening see the world from a different perspective and are excited by adventure and exploration, which is something we at Natural World Safaris can promise you up in Svalbard. So, without further ado, let's find out a bit more about our wonderful guests. Now, Nicole, I've got my first question for you this evening. I've got to ask, you've seen Earth from space, which is just remarkable. So, when you think about Svalbard, what excites you most about returning to one of the planet's most remote and pristine places?
Wow, I think there's a lot that is inspired by the opportunity to experience our planet from space to, realize what we all know when we're kids that, wow, we live on like, wow, that's an ocean planet in space kind of thing. And there's places on Earth that I don't care whether you're on it or you're off it, that just kind of stand out as remarkable in some way and otherworldly in some way. And when you look back at Earth and you're seeing all of this ocean and land, there's these, of course, these extremes at, either end of it at the poles. And there's something that's just really attractive about that. It's mysterious, it's white, and yet it's kind of like looking at a hurricane moving across the ocean where it's this white swirly thing, but there's a lot more going on there than just that pretty white swirly thing. And I think the same is true for the Arctic, where it just looks like this beautiful white expanse, against these blues and other colors that you know Earth to be. And from that vantage point, you appreciate it in a way that isn't quite like what you will when you're right in the middle of it. No, when you discover all of these other things that are going on besides the white and the blue and the beauty of it, there's the other beauties of it through the creatures that live there and the way that we can be in that place and explore it and respect and protect it. All of those things, I think, make it a really attractive place to want to be, to, with your feet back here on the ground, get a little time in.
Wow, that's definitely made me want to go back, that's for sure.
We're happy that you're taking us and going to be there with us.
So exciting. Um, and a question for Christina. You've spent much of your career helping people connect with space exploration, but what parallels do you see between exploring space and exploring the high Arctic?
Well, I think, it's obvious that if you're a space explorer, you're an explorer. And I think that one thing that kind of surprises people sometimes is that, first of all, a lot of astronauts work so hard to get to space that they don't actually get to explore the Earth maybe as much as they want to. And so seeing the Earth from space, I know so many astronauts who have this bucket list of all the places on Earth that they want to go to. So of course, the poles are always a pretty big one, to know that you can go to these places on Earth where people don't live. Maybe some people live, but it's not where most people live. And just the awe and wonder of that place, is attractive. And to me too, by the way. I mean, I haven't gone to space yet. And but my life has been centered around first, where I fell into space was with Buzz Aldrin, the second man to walk on the moon, the first moon landing. And one thing that would surprise a lot of people is how much I traveled with Buzz Aldrin all over the world for 10 years. And I never got to sit in the window seat of the airplane when I traveled with him because he always wanted to look out the window and he would always be pointing things out. And the cool thing about flying, at least in the north, in the Arctic, is you do actually get to fly over that sometimes. So you actually get to have kind of this overview effect in an airplane if you're paying attention, if you actually look out the window. So the thing about people who go to space, they're in general very curious and they are explorers. So they want to go and see these places on Earth. And I'm no different. I've always wanted to travel the world and see the world. I was lucky enough to go to the South Pole. I did go with Buzz Aldrin. And then Nicole and I went to the Antarctica together. And so being able to go to the Arctic, to also add to our exploration activities is very exciting. But it's not even only that. It's like we're curious about these places to be able to see the life that's there and to get to view our planet up close or the things that are on our planet, get up close and see it. There's nothing that replaces that. No matter how many videos you watch, no matter how many, pictures you see, they pull you in, but until you're actually there on site, I think that's something, no matter if you're a space explorer or you're an undersea explorer or you're just somebody who wants to explore the world, being able to go to a special place like that on Earth and having the access, like what we're going to do on this ship, there's not really any other way to get there, right? You have to go on a ship. There's no other way to get there, but it's a very special experience. And especially in this way, we're going to get to do it. So, I mean, I think exploration, no matter who you are, and I guarantee you, people who explore the Earth want to explore space too. It's just not as many people get to do it.
That's so true. And what an insight there. And I must add that if you are traveling up to Svalbard, it is well worth booking a window seat on the plane because the views as you fly in are phenomenal, as you've just said, and you really get to see the mountains and some of the landscape from a slightly different perspective to how you'll see it on the ship. So what do you think it is about these extreme environments that changes the way we see ourselves and our place in the world? What is it about them?
I mean, it goes to some of what Christina was saying, those two words like awe and wonder. I think it's just like looking, and the picture that's behind her and on the screen here, that Earthrise image, this whole kind of acknowledgement, this reality check of who and where we all are in space together, right? And whether you're looking at it from this view that the Apollo 8 astronauts had, of Earth popping up over the horizon of the moon, or you're in the middle of it somewhere, there's just something about the connection you can make it to it if you open up your heart and your mind to it as well. I mean, I think the same is true. I'm looking out my backyard and there's like some pretty awesome and wonderful stuff out there too. And I think that, that places like this they are extreme, right? It's kind of like going to space or going, underwater. We can't just survive there, just walk outside and, and survive there for long, if at all. We have to think about the equipment we're going to use, the way we're going to spend our time there, how we're going to protect ourselves just so we can survive in that place. And I think that makes for a really interesting experience that allows you to reconsider how special it is that we can even survive at all on this planet, and how awesome it is that there are creatures both on the surface and below the surface of the water that are meant to live in that place. I mean, that I get goosebumps thinking about how otherworldly is a word I'll use a lot. It's like these places we can't survive as humans, but there's life in those places. And and then it goes to, wow, we're exploring space. That same kind of thing might be true. And I don't know, in the end, I think it's all about the connection that we can make to not just what we know as our norm on Earth, but to really understanding just the bigger picture of how we're able to survive in this place.
And you mentioned there kind of, Nicole, about how even looking out the window, you're kind of seeing things in nature and all of these things. But can either of you recall a moment, particularly in a remote place, where you felt genuinely humbled by nature?
Go for it, Christina. I know you have
Yeah,
some.
I mean, first of all, when I went to the South Pole, number one, there was no life there, or at least that we could see. So to be able to go back to Antarctica the second time, and we went down in a submersible, and like Nicole was saying, I got to go down 3 times, and each time we went down, they were like, "This, they're the only humans who have ever seen this." And that is really humbling. And it's not even only that we're down in a submarine, yellow submarine, by the way, going down to the ocean floor against an ice wall, but the amount of life that is there is really humbling. It's kind of shocking and amazing that in the most extreme place on earth that there's, creatures living under the water. The other place I would say, which was a big, thing for me, because I grew up in South Dakota, as far away from the ocean as you can get, is I learned to scuba dive finally. Every astronaut is a scuba diver, and Buzz Aldrin was the first of all the astronauts to train underwater and to simulate weightlessness in space. And so he was always the one who was like, it's the closest to floating in space. So I finally like overcame this major fear of mine to go underwater and to scuba dive. So now I've scuba dived and I've done it with Nicole several times. And that is another place where, I will often say to people think space is a faraway place, or they think an ocean feels far away if you're not near it. And it's easy to forget how much life is in there, in the ocean until you go in there and put your face in there. So now I feel really humbled when we go scuba diving and a turtle comes up next to me. I'm just like, thank you for welcoming me into your world. So for me, those are the kind of moments. But then also, seeing every place on earth that you can go to, like Nicole says, you can find something awesome about that place. And I have been to 60 countries now, and in every place, it is, I've gotten to experience the things that make us different, or the landscape that's different, and the things that unite us. So, sorry, that was long-winded, but
Love it.
and I think those are 3 different kind of examples of that.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And three like hugely interesting, and just as you say, very different examples. Sorry, Nicole, did you have an answer as well?
No, I was just going to say that. I mean, I could just echo those as well. I feel really fortunate to have the opportunity, and I think it comes from, having this experience in space opens up opportunities here on Earth. I mean, it's why we're here together today, right? I think there's a fascination with the extremes, first of
Hmm.
all. I think there's a fascination with experiencing them in some way. And feel blessed to have and I highly recommend it, by the way, if you get a chance, to have spent time in space and, the work we're doing there, all of that, all about improving life on Earth, those kinds of things, but to just, witness Earth that way. And I think that the same is true here. I mean, it's incredible what you can experience if you, and you don't have to travel far, right? But so grateful to have been able to travel far too. Like we've
Yeah.
done trips to the Maldives. Never in my life. I mean, you see that place from space, it's stunning. The blues, the atolls, all of that. And then to have your feet right in the sand, there's something just energizing about it. It's like earthing at its max. And the same thing is true even when you're in your boots and you're standing in the ice. And Antarctica, just it's a bit of disbelief and surprise as well. And I know we're going to feel that same way in the Arctic too. And to have your experience there with us, I don't know, to just point out, I'm sure, things that, we're seeing but not necessarily understanding fully is going to be so awesome. To be able to just like kind of see it again, like see it and experience it through your experience is going to be really incredible.
And we're hugely, hugely excited to welcome you on board and have that combination of your experiences and our incredible guides' experiences as well. And as you say, that blend between the wildlife local, kind of local knowledge and experiences and that bigger perspective is just going to be
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. Yeah. And something definitely not to be missed. We've still got a bit more time, so I've got a few more questions if you're both happy to keep going. We've talked quite a lot about how seeing Earth from space has kind of influenced and made you want to visit different places. How would you say that it's affected your views on environmental stewardship here on Earth?
I think it's integral to it. And I would say, I'm just going to speak for Christina. I think it's to her as well. And, kind of the see it, be it thing. She will go to space sometime, but it's cool to me to watch how somebody, how she has kind of osmosed these experiences from the space flyers that she's spent time with and just brought that into into life as well. And I could just, I mean, a lot of why we work together is this like shared purpose that goes beyond just, oh, I'm going to tell you the story about when I went to space, or I'm going to tell you the story about like, from her standpoint, of when I sang in front of 60,000 people, or, spent time with Buzz Aldrin. I mean, there's something like innately personal about it too, that you want to bring. And again, that connection to the planet that, we just can't deny. I think I'll stop rambling, but I think the biggest part of it is, and I see it in you and through Natural World Safaris, and it's why I think we would agree to participate, in an exploration and experience like this with you guys, is that there's total respect for the planet and the environment that we are going to be exploring, and how we can share what I think all of us feel as crewmates and not passengers on our planetary spaceship. How we, just bring that to life for the people around us, so that they if they haven't already, and I kind of get the feeling that people coming on this will already understand their, connection to our place in space, and how this is, it is our planetary spaceship, and how you just can't be a passenger here. You've got to be actively involved with the world around you. And that can be exploring it and then sharing it and taking action as a result of it, which is what we feel, our role is in all of this is, and don't get me wrong, I am excited about just experiencing the Arctic, but there's at least going to be one or more things that are going to come from that I know we'll bring back and be able to take to other places on Earth, where we can share, okay, this is going on with the ice, or, the creatures that live in the water there. This is our challenges that are happening for whatever reason, and how we can raise awareness of that. And maybe even how something we're doing in space can help be part of the solution to that problem as well.
Well, the thing I want to add, because she forgot to mention it, is she actually wrote a book called Back to Earth: What Life in Space Taught Me About Our Home Planet and Our Mission to Protect It. And I think, I mean, that's something that she felt she wanted to share with people, like what that perspective has given her. And that definitely was for me too, being able to travel the world and, like with this webinar, see things through the eyes of an astronaut, but then through your own eyes too. When you're in these different places, you
Yeah.
realize, we all live on the same planet together, and we all ultimately want the same things. It's the thing I like about traveling to see different cultures and all of that. But I mean, the thing I think we share, and I'm happy to share, like with the astronauts, which actually led me to my purpose. I didn't have this purpose before, and I think that that's something that this type of a trip can do too, is it can move you to having some sort of purpose or wanting to be a part
Yeah.
of the solution in some way or another. That's where I do think these kinds of expeditions, it's not just that they're fun. Don't get me wrong, I hope we have lots of fun, and I can't wait to see polar bears and all of that and frolic in the snow. I'm the chief silly officer of everything we do. But I
Yeah.
am also very, we hope, I should say, that we can help at least open this up in somebody else too, to think about how they can play a role, as Nicole says, being a crewmate, not just a passenger. Because when you see this stuff up close, it does move you. It creates a sense of awe. And there was a study I think Stanford did that was saying, like, experiencing awe makes people more giving, more charitable, more feel like they want to be a part of something. There's just something about experiencing something firsthand that, again, photos is not enough, video is not enough. You can think that stuff is awesome, but when you're actually physically there, it does something to you. And I think, you know, that's what working with astronauts and getting to travel the world has done for me. And so when we're there and we're sharing content even about what we're doing there, I think everyone knows now that we're always trying to show, like, look, we live on a planet in space. We live on an ocean planet in space. And then the other piece I think that we'll be talking about on the ship, and maybe this is one of your future questions, though, is the similarities between the ice on Earth and what that means, and the ice on the moon, and the ice in other places, and what we as humans will learn from the ice that we basically all need to survive on Earth, on the moon, and other places. There's lots of parallels that probably people don't think about in that way too, and how it can help the whole planet by going to the moon. Sounds crazy, but there's purpose behind that too.
I love that. I think that's absolutely incredible. And I have to say, I think as specialist leaders, that's something absolutely unique that you really can bring to this trip, is those parallels that we just aren't aware of and don't know, because we don't have those otherworldly experiences that you bring to it. And I think it's absolutely just remarkable, and it's going to be such a fantastic trip. And don't worry, there's lots of time for having fun in the snow and all sorts of um, other adventures as well on board Polar Front. We definitely make sure that it's a lot of fun, and we get glowing reports from our guests for the fun
Well,
for the
that's the
fun
thing
side.
is, that's the other thing. People sometimes are so serious about some of this, but we want to have fun in the place too, right? I mean, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
I think if you're enjoying yourself, I mean, the same thing was true in space too. I mean, I tend to, in my presentation, show this goofy picture of crew with these clown noses on in all different directions and stuff, just having fun. But I think you get more from, and you don't have to, and just enjoying yourself in a place, like enjoying the company of the people you're with, and that's what I mean. This trip too, where I think, to be there with the 12 guests on board, I mean, that's a pretty intimate setting. It's one where we'll get to know each other, right? And I'm looking forward to appreciating that too, and having it go beyond the time we're there, and perhaps extend to other opportunities here on Earth, and learn from each other about what different people are involved with too. It's always so exciting to us, no matter where we go in the world. You come across, it's what gives me hope, actually, and all of the, excuse my language, CRP that's going on, or AP that's going on, I can't even spell the bad word, in the world. This kind of trip, the people that we meet, who every single one of them, I don't think I could come up with a trip I've taken where I haven't encountered something in every one of the people where they are actively involved with positive activities, improving something, supporting something, creating something that makes life better for everyone. So, yeah, we love it, and can't
Well, it's
wait.
a real bonding experience, this type of a trip. I mean, when I went to the South Pole, there were 12 of us, and that is an experience we will always share. And that's what this type of thing is too. We've gone on to continue to be really good friends with these people, and they come and show up for, like, the different types of events. I
Yeah.
produce space galas and other space activities, and a lot of them want to come and join us too. Like when Nicole and I do island astronaut camps around the world, and people will come and follow us or join us, or like we bond with people in these types of situations, and this one will be very special.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, once you've experienced something like that together, because I think, as you've both kind of said so far, going somewhere like the Arctic, it's really something you feel, and you can never do it justice in a picture or a video or anything like that. And once you've had that common bonding of having that same feeling in the same moment and living that, it's something that will bond you for life, really. So this is a
Yeah.
fantastic opportunity. I think that's probably a good place to wrap up our webinar. So I'm just going to say thank you so much, Nicole and Christina, for sharing your insights and inspiration with us. And thank you to everybody for joining us. We hope that you'll come along and join us in Svalbard and experience this remarkable place for yourselves.